Cool.
As we'll bring in James Ham, who's going to drink many under the table tomorrow at the Kings Beat Off the Record virtual happy hour live from James Ham's bar in the snow. You're only invited, though, if you become a premium subscriber over at thekingsbeat.com. And I assure you, all of the great content is well worth the premium subscription, but nothing tops those off-the-record conversations that Sam Amick is going to be a part of tomorrow. And Sam wrote today, and we want to talk about those things. But first in, James, welcome.
How's it going, guys?
What's up, James?
I heard you guys talk. Who are you talking about as I was coming on?
Trey Wingo's dad.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, Trey Wingo's dad helped create People Magazine.
You know, during my time at NBC, they gave me a television coach, someone to walk me through like sort of the basics in the beginning. And his name was Larry Kane, who toured with the Beatles for their first 2 tours in America when they came here to the United States. And then so he's written like all these books on the Beatles, but he was also on television in Philadelphia for like 37 years before retiring a few years back. Every once in a while you meet one of those people that have just lived one of those extraordinary lives.
Yeah. And it's always fun to pick their brain. I'm sure Alvin Gentry feels like he's lived an extraordinary life after coaching the Sacramento Kings for 22 games. Just we've been trying to figure out like what are our feelings supposed to be about the game last night. I thought they played pretty well and they had themselves in a position to win despite the fact they turned the ball over so much.
Yeah, I mean, if this is who the Kings are gonna be, then I think this is okay. If you're getting in close matches, I think you said it last time we were on the air that in their losses are losing by like 18.3 points and their wins are winning by like 8 point something. That in itself is no way to live if you're a basketball team, and it doesn't feel good to cover a team like that. It doesn't feel good if you're a fan base. It's one of those things where like you cannot be that erratic. It makes the highest highs and the lowest lows. And so I think if this is who they can become, which we've seen, I think it's like 3 out of the last 4 or 4 out of the last 5 games where they have had games go down to the wire. It's like we forgot about the whole system of, learn how to compete, get into close games, figure out how to play 48 minutes to this like crazy inconsistent, erratic play. But if you're going to win a couple of games like this, then you're going to lose a couple of games like this as well. And that's kind of the way. But this feels better to lose like this than it does to lose by 18 or 20 or 25. Yeah.
Well, you give yourself a chance, right? Like they had an opportunity to win last night and they just went up against, I'm going to say it again, one of, if not the greatest player to ever play. And that's what's going to happen from time to time. So
I mean, you got beat by LeBron. It wasn't anyone else. You got beat by LeBron.
Right, because the Lakers stink.
Yeah, I don't think the Lakers as a whole are good. I mean, that's an odd collection of players. And then we're starting to see young guys kind of come up like Monk. Again, he just couldn't find his niche there in Charlotte. And I think he's got the type of skill set that they need to succeed. But the rest of the guys on that roster, I mean, the fact that everyone made such a big deal out of Russell Westbrook not having a turnover for the first time in, was it 427 games or something like that? It was something ridiculous. But he did miss a bank shot by like 4 feet.
Okay, well, what does this have to do with anything?
He did miss a 12-footer where he airballed it. And what I'm saying is that, like, we can say he didn't have turnovers, but those are just as good as turnovers. I know he's your guy.
But are getting crazy, man. They're getting these residences are getting crazy. The other day he tried the bank shot.
The bank was closed, bro. It's after 5 o'clock. The bank is closed. Like, I don't think I've seen, like, Tim Duncan just rolled over in his grave and he's not even dead. He's just like, what just happened? It's weird. And then we get to like the call right when it happened. Like, I I'm in the middle of writing because that's how you do a game. You usually have to wait towards the end to finish your intro and to tighten up like your little thoughts. And so I was thinking, hey, they've got a shot. As soon as Fox didn't pick up the ball, I knew right away, like, oh no, that's a jump ball. And I understand the complaints with that. It is a stupid rule. And I love that everyone dropped F-bombs and S-bombs on post game, because that always makes for great tweets. So it's just one of those things though. Like you want
Alvin was fired up.
Yeah. He was fired up. I would be too. I would have been like livid because you got punished for someone else's mistake. Right. And the mistake that Fox made was not just grabbing the ball and saying, look, the clock started that, you need to fix that. But either way, he should have just grabbed the ball and went and not let the defense set up. The whole entire situation was strange. So again, like one of those nights where like this Fox was so good and then he didn't finish the game. And he did that's what happened that game where he missed the 2 free throws, right? He was so good up until that moment, and then he misses 2 free throws and you lose a game. He had the turnover with Harrison. That ends up being like it's not counted as a turnover, but that was a turnover.
That was out of a timeout too.
Yeah, and then you have the no. I mean, yes, that was a turnover for sure out of the timeout. But then like the play where he didn't grab the ball, that was also, it's not considered a turnover. It should have been, but it's the same thing as a turnover. And then he ends up turning the ball over on the last play of the game as well, where it goes off his legs. So yeah, some wildly disappointing moments in that where you just felt like
didn't commit a turnover last night. Just saying.
Yeah.
Speaking of, in all seriousness, that stat was all over the place about Russell Westbrook not committing a turnover, and probably the one of the biggest issues last night, James, was the discrepancy in turnovers. And Kenny asked this question before the show started, and I think this is the first time we're bringing it to the air, and I think it's a fantastic question. Is that an indictment on the Kings that they couldn't force Russell Westbrook to turn the ball over?
Well, of course it is. I mean, they didn't play. I mean, defensively, they were a mess for a lot of it. I mean, they were, they were attacking the key for large stretches where the Kings put up no resistance at all. I kind of, to be honest with you, I would have liked to have seen Tristan Thompson get some minutes in that game. Although the last time he played, he did not look good at all. He looks like, he's kind of chilling and hanging out.
He's going through it right now.
He is going through it right now. Yeah, I'm glad I don't have to write those things.
He got family support last night, though, but he's going through it.
Yeah, he is going through it. Yeah, he's off the court stuff. I mean, it's all self-inflicted, so yes. I'm not going to feel bad for him. But at the same time, he's got a job to do, and if he's not ready to play, he's not ready to play. The last time he came out, I thought he looked like disheveled on the court. Like, hey man, that's not the way you're supposed to show up into a game. So yeah,
wait for them test results to come back.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I don't know which one.
It's impossible not to acknowledge. Yeah. Like the last time he played, he was terrible, and then the paternity test comes out like the next day. Like I'm sure those things are related.
Shaved his hair.
Oh, he was probably sitting there like getting ready to post his apology. Like he was working on his apology, and they said, "Hey, we need you in the game." And it's like, "Oh, okay, hang on. Let me save this. Let me screenshot it just in case it gets deleted." Yeah, like look, this team, they need something. They need something else. And I'm not going to overreact to this game. To be honest with you, if the Kings won that game, they would have won 4 out of 5. And they actually are turning a corner a little bit as far as the quality of play, the style of play, but I don't buy in anymore with this group until probably until game 82. And then I'll know who they are because I know who they are right now, and they've got to change my mind on who they are. And so, yeah, I'm still waiting for that moment. But okay, I think this is going to be lively. I think we're going to see some changes here to this roster soon, and hopefully they're changes for the better.
I sure hope so. I really do. I sure hope so. One of the things I'll ask you about some of the things that we're, putting out there, trying to make happen. You saw the reports that Atlanta may be looking to move on from Gallinari and Cam Reddish. And I'm not the only one, but I talked about it here. I said I'd start with Buddy Hield because they want like a 1-for-2 type situation or 2-for-1, whatever you want to say. And I'd start with that. I don't know if that gets it done, although their shooting guard depth isn't as strong as people realize once you start looking at the roster, but that might not get it done. But I'd be willing to move on from Harrison Barnes to get Cam Reddish. I look at Cam Reddish as a guy who fits the mold of somebody that it's a swing for the fence. I think his upside, I may be alone. I think his upside is pretty high. But he's got injury concerns. You don't know if he'll ever get there. But that's the type of guy that I think would be in the Kings' wheelhouse to try and take a chance on. Is that the same way you feel about Cam, or is he not really? Does he not move the needle the way you need a move to move the needle for the Kings right now?
Yeah, that would have to be one of multiple moves. Like I wouldn't accept that as the move. But I certainly do think that could be. Again, you talk about three-way trades and stuff like that. I think that there are potential moves here that you could make where it could make multiple teams better. I like Reddish. I think Reddish can develop. I'm not ready to jump on board on the Reddish train just because he hasn't done it and he hasn't been able to stay healthy at all. But I certainly look at like deals like that where, maybe you get into a trade where Gallinari goes to a team like Philadelphia along with Buddy Hield, where they're taking a low risk, and Gallinari kind of fits at that stretch four that they could use some depth there. So I mean that would make a little bit more sense where you bring in Reddish and you give up a couple of firsts or even in that deal, if I'm the Kings for Barnes, you're giving them a much better player today than than they're offering. And I would want a first round pick in that trade. And again, to me, that's a trade where maybe you start getting the ammunition you need to go get a Ben Simmons, where you pick up a first round pick from Atlanta. I don't know what their situation is. I haven't looked at their pick situation. But you get a pick there and then you give up one or two yourself. And next thing you know, you got Buddy going somewhere, you got Gallinari going somewhere, and you got Barnes going to Atlanta and Ben Simmons coming back with a guy like Reddish. Because again, I think that's a small move in my book, like the Reddish move and Gallinari. I mean, he can probably help you, but he's had his own injury issues and he's up and down. He's on the backside of his career and stuff like that.
I think there's a couple of things worth diving into right there. Cause I know you really like Ben Simmons as a splashy move. And I know some people don't, but I like the way that you just framed it. And I think the way that you just framed it is worth talking about. I have concerns about Ben Simmons, less of the ones that Kenny has and more of the fact that we're damn near halfway through a basketball season. And I have no clue what Ben Simmons is doing right now. But I want to elaborate a little bit further on your idea of multiple moves. So we'll dive into that. James Ham is going to hang out with us before he heads to the Golden One Center. The Kings are back at it again tonight against the Atlanta Hawks. Cam Reddish is listed as questionable with an ankle. Just leave him here. We'll get that ankle all better. We'll talk more with 1320 Kings insider James Ham when we return here on Sacramento's #1 sports station, ESPN 1320. And we'll make this the only break, Jesse. We'll go till 28. Let James get on the road.
Okay. I'll be right back.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just looking at Gallinari's stats this season. He's not playing much.
No.
Gallinari, he has I think he has a team option for next season. It's not fully guaranteed for next season.
Yeah. Was it $5 million guaranteed next year?
Was it that high?
I thought that's what it was. I didn't look that up. Someone sent that to us in the chat. I thought it was. It was 5 guaranteed. Is he? Yeah, he's a go tonight. He's not on the injury report, so
he's just coming back though.
From health and safety.
Yeah, he just got cleared to come back.
Gosh, they got a lot of guys out. Jeez, I know John Collins is returning on Friday, but
yeah,
man, they got a lot of guys out.
Yeah, so Gallinari is 20. Yeah, it's $5 million guaranteed, and it becomes guaranteed on June 29th. So of his 21.4, and then I want to look at Reddish. Reddish is 4.6, 6. Like next season, he's almost 6 million, and then you got to make your decision on what you're gonna do. He has a qualifying offer of 8.1 the next year. Yeah, I don't mind Reddish. But at some point, I mean, that's.
I do. I completely agree with you. It's a move. Like it's a move. It's not a game change, but it's a move in which you hope is a part of a series of moves.
Well, and it's a move that does not make you better this season. Like if you're making that move, you're giving up the best player of that group.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no question in my mind. You're giving up the best player by quite a bit in that group.
I saw a trade proposal that didn't even involve Harrison Barnes. It involved Marvin and Tristan.
No,
and I think Mo Harkless was in there.
Yeah,
because it was like they need bigs. So
no, I would do that. I would totally do that. So yeah, no, I mean that you got to do something like this crazy banging the drum thing that's going on out there on the Twitter. I don't get.
I think I saw you tweet this, but didn't get a chance to read it. Are the Kings working with limited bodies tonight?
No.
Oh no. Okay. No, I'd see. Okay, it's Woodard,
and
Keita.
Woodard, Keita. I mean, Jemias was with the team, but Woodard, Keita, and Luke King are all at the G League level, and
Chimezi's still out, and Rashawn is still out.
Yeah. So that makes a lot of sense to me. What you just said, like Marvin, because they Okongwu is still like he's a couple of years away, and I don't even know if he's ever going to reach anything. That was to me not the greatest pick at all. And I didn't mind him in the draft, but I didn't see, like, everyone wanted to compare him to Bam, and I didn't see that. And that's not the type of game that they play.
Yeah.
So I definitely, if the Kings could clear out a couple of bigs, I think that would be great for everyone. And Gallinari, for a season playing 25 minutes a game is actually not that bad. He's horrible defensively at this point. I don't know that he was ever great, but
I think one thing that's intriguing about Atlanta, or a conversation about Atlanta, is they're underachieving. The fact that they're underachieving so bad, and this was a team that was in the Eastern Conference Finals last year, and you're looking at them like, yo, what the hell happened here?
Yeah.
That it's like, yo, we've got to get this thing right, and they just may be looking to sell that in a way that they think makes them better.
Yeah, if you go back and look, though, teams that make it to the Eastern and the Western Conference Finals, they tend to have the the Super Bowl loss hangover. So, I mean, look at Portland in like 2018.
Sure.
And then Denver, like 2 years ago. There's always like a hangover afterwards. And
but Denver didn't miss the playoffs, did they?
No, but they weren't nearly as good.
Sure.
And they certainly didn't make noise like they did the year before.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Jalen Johnson and Collins. Jalen Johnson is interesting, but like there's some stuff missing there. So, like they do need to clear out some potential cap space issues coming up. And I think that's what they might do. They might try to attach guys. So Gallinari is not that big of a concern for them. They can walk away, but it's, Trey's contract is jumping, and all these other players.
Well, at some point, the Bogdan stuff is going to drive them crazy.
Yeah. Oh no. The Kings should take Bogdan back.
I mean, I'm fine if you swap Buddy and Bogdan. I'm totally fine with that.
Absolutely.
I would trade Buddy and Marvin for Reddish and Bogey.
Okay, here we go. We're coming back. on the Odyssey app, on 1320 AM, on twitch.tv/ESPN 1320, and youtube.com/ESPN 1320. It's Dealing with KC, brought to you by McQueen and the Violet Fog, the smoothest gin in the world, handcrafted in Brazil, along with ESPN 1320 Kings insider James Ham. We're fixing the Kings' problems one problem at a time, and I believe we actually just knocked out a couple of them right before we came back from commercial break. We believe we fixed everything, and we can fix it tonight. Well, sort of. Not exactly, but we can get all of the deals done tonight. Cam Reddish, Bogdan Bogdanovic for Marvin Bagley. I'm going to include Tristan Thompson and Buddy Hield. Send those guys to Atlanta. We get Bogey back. Everybody can be so happy for Bogey. We get Cam Reddish, and boom, Western Conference Finals.
I'm with that. Don't they want to get rid of Gallo, though?
Oh, you can fine. Put Gallinari in there, too.
I mean, I'm willing to offer. Do whatever to make the deal happen.
Let's do it. I'm with it.
Yeah, I think, the one thing that we talked about, like from the beginning of the season on, they're always waiting for the other deal. They're waiting for the bigger deal. And so you're trying not to put all your chips in one deal. And then next thing you know, it just doesn't work out. And it's just, but how long do you wait? How long do you wait for a guy like Ben Simmons to actually become available? And how does that even work out? I think that the Kings just continuously are in this holding pattern with this salary group. They basically have like almost 45 million. Well, I mean, like in NBA standards, it's 45 million plus that they can just shop at any time with Tristan and Buddy and Marvin. But what you don't want to do is sell those pieces off, and then something else that's better comes along and you missed out and you don't have the pieces to make that move. But as far as I'm concerned, I mean, the Kings, again, if you look at Harkless and you look at Alex Len, guys that are like on the bubble, whether they're even in the rotation or not right now, you could probably pull off two $25 million deals. And those two deals, that's plus or minus 25%. So that means that you can go above 30 million and you can go below 30 million. You still have Robert Woodard's contract you can throw in. You still have Jemias Ramsey's contract to move these deals to make them all work, 3-for-1s, 3-for-2s, whatever. So look, I think the Kings, like, they can be super active without fully damaging what a lot of people believe is their core. Now, whether they still believe that's their core or not, we don't know. But, Fox, Halliburton, Davion, Harrison and Rashawn, like, they could make some major franchise altering moves, 2 major franchise altering moves without including those players. So go for it. If you can do something.
When you talk about that, though, what do you feel about the report that Vivek has given Monty the green light to do whatever he feels necessary?
Well, first of all, like Sam, his reporting is always impeccable. Like, we're friends. He's coming on the happy hour. Like, he's my guy. So I'm not going to say like, look, that's not true. I think they believe that. They believe that until it comes time to actually do something. And then it's going to have like sorted levels. This isn't just some easy peasy, like, oh, we worked it out on the trade machine. We offered it. We're going to do this, and you get a rubber stamp. I think there's always going to be some hesitation. But that, again, this
there's
going to
be hesitation from Vivek.
Yeah, no, I mean, as an owner, you still, like, you approve. Every owner approves final trades, especially franchise altering trades. Like, I guess maybe there's a couple of guys that have taken a step so far back that they don't, but there's a good percentage of people out there, a good percentage of owners that actually, always have the final say. What you don't want is that person being in the room and being part of the discussion process and part of, the analytics process and all that, because to me, that's where you start getting into like trying to appease somebody, and giving them too much of a voice in what's happening, as opposed to making a final yes or no check mark on a box. Like, hey, can we do this deal? We're going to do this deal. So Yeah, I don't know. Like at the end of the day, it's good to hear that Monty and Wes have unlimited control to trade anyone on the roster. But that actually, like when it comes down to it, what does that look like? And I think that that's more of a, like in theory, they've got that kind of power. But when it really comes down to it, like he's never like he micromanages a lot of things, and that would never be just like a rubber stamp thing where they don't even have to make a call to him or something.
Which I laid out the scenario, and you just kind of said it, and that's everybody, right? Like I had me and Damien had the back and forth where I said if Bob Myers had to set up a deal and wanted to trade Draymond, he'd have to ask Joe Lacob. And if Joe Lacob said no, the trade ain't happening.
Yeah. I mean, that's typically the way it goes.
Well, and my argument was, I don't know that if Bob Myers is presenting that deal, and I feel like that is an extreme example. So I'm going to try to bring this back to the Kings and say if Monty is going to Vivek, I feel like the spirit of Sam's report was if Monty is going to Vivek and saying, hey, we've got this deal to do this, this, and this. He's telling him of the deal with the expectation that Vivek isn't going to go, oh, no, you can't do that. Unless it's unless there are massive financial ramifications to it, that I understand. But if it's, oh, no, we need a wing, I think that's what Kings fans are concerned about.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, so, I mean, like, look, if people don't think Robert Sarver signed off when the Suns traded for like a $46 million Chris Paul.
Sure.
I think that's what you're talking about. In this situation, I think it's like, hey, we've got this deal scheduled. This is what, like, I think at this point, they have full approval to shop every player on the roster. Shop every player, find deals that make sense. Now come back to me. Now I want to see. I want to see your math. You know what I mean? It's like show your work.
I hate when they ask to tell you.
And then let me see. Let me see
Don't
it.
worry about how I got here.
Yeah. Well, I can like the math. I can always do in my head, and then the teacher always like I want to see it. Like, well, I can't. Like here, like look at my ear. Like, can you see in there? I don't know. But that's kind of what I think. I think that's where we're at. We're like, hey, okay, show me your work. Show me how we're going to get better with this trade. And then, if you make logical sense, then I'm not going to hold out, this hope that someone is going to become someone they're not from here on out. I'm going to suspend my understanding of basketball and let you bring trades to me that either make sense or don't make sense. And then again, finances is always going to be part of it, right? Finances are going to be like a bit of it, but the Kings are already at $130 million. So they're close to the tax line. So if you're making some humongous deal and you're not giving away, you're taking back more than you're sending out, this team would be a taxpayer team. And that again is where Vivek is going to come in. Like, are you willing to go dollar for dollar over the I think it's 132 million threshold or whatever, to match? And if he says yes, then that's one thing. But I don't think even in this situation, like an extreme case would be like, they take on like an additional 5 to 7 million. So maybe you got to shell out an extra 5 million on the back end to the league and then 5 million in salary. So that actually ends up being like $10 million, which is a lot of money. But I think we're in a situation where like he'll want to look at what they have on the table and how they think it's going to improve the team. And then, okay, yes or no. But the big thing that we're starting out with, you have access to everyone. No one is off the table. I think that that's pretty big because there have been times where like Buddy Hield is not on the table because Vivek doesn't want him traded, that kind of stuff. And that's just not conducive to like a GM being able to make changes and do things his own way.
It's good stuff.
James Ham, ESPN 1320 Kings Insider. We told you we're trying to fix all of the problems, just one at a time here. You mentioned this right before the break. By the way, you're listening to D'Lo and KC along with James Ham here on ESPN 1320 KIFM, West Sacramento, KRXQ HD2 Sacramento and Odyssey Station and driven by Lashers, Elk Grove, Dodge. We were specifically, we obviously got deep into a conversation about trades overall. We talked about Cam Reddish, and you mentioned that's a move. Kings need to make the move, and then you kind of circled back to Ben Simmons and brought Ben Simmons back into the conversation. And I wonder for Kings fans, because I know you really like Ben Simmons, and I actually do too. And I wonder, I have concerns, particularly like, what are you doing right now? But I also like, I wonder, does Ben Simmons become more attractive to Kings fans who may not be in on this if he's part of a couple of moves that get Simmons here? Maybe you move on from Buddy, Marvin, maybe let's say Harrison is gone, but you still got Rashawn, you still got Tyrese, Davion. That group of guys is still here. You lose a couple of draft picks, and let's just stick with the conversation we were having. Cam Reddish, and somehow Ben Simmons ends up in here. I wonder if deals like that, where Ben Simmons actually has other players attached to him, becomes more attractive to Kings fans who may be looking at that like, I don't really like this idea of Ben Simmons.
Well, I think it's always going to be, what did you give up? That's
sure.
It's always going to be the question. What did it cost you? Like, we like that you did something, but did you cut us too deep? Are we too in on De'Aaron Fox as a fan group, like as a fan base? And that's where fans, I think you'll get like a horrible reaction if you do the wrong move that includes a Halliburton or a Fox, or even, I think even Rashawn Holmes. The fans love Rashawn. Davion has, some followers, but really, like, can you do a deal without injuring us, without cutting us as a fan base? And, that's what they've tried to do. That's been sort of the deal that's out there the whole time with Marvin and Buddy, and they'll shop those guys. So I think that that is fine with the fan base. But when you start going deeper into this, like, how much are you gonna impact us long term? And so, like, again, Simmons, like, I like Sabonis as much or more than Simmons. I just think that Simmons has always been obtainable if you just went all in, if you started to bow down to what their asking price is. And that's why I've always been like, look, he's a great defender. He can rebound. He improves you in a bunch of ways. Defensively, he improves your team greatly. Versatility, he improves your team greatly. He's more versatile than a guy like Sabonis. But again, I love Sabonis as well. I would take Sabonis. I like the Brandon Ingram thing we talked about the other day. Like, if Brandon Ingram, I don't think is fully off the table, because I think that thing is a mess, and they're probably going to have to start over. So if you were willing to do this for Ben Simmons, would you be willing to do this for Brandon Ingram? So I think that we have to look at what exactly you're getting. And if one of those things is, if you give up De'Aaron Fox and then you don't bring back anything, you bring back a couple of picks and a couple of young players like Cam Reddish, or a couple of young players that are okay, that fill out, sort of like the Chris Webber trade, right? Where you traded Chris Webber and you broke him into, Corliss Williamson, Brian Skinner, and Kenny Thomas. Well, that's not going to cut it. If the Kings do that, if Monte McNair trades De'Aaron Fox and his $28.1 million contract that goes up from here, and brings back like a couple of mid-first round picks and some pieces, well, like, first of all, that's on the owner for approving that. So that's where you come back to the question we just had. Like, an owner should not approve that. That's taking a step back. And then if the answer is, well, we needed to make this move so we're more financially flexible to make the next move, that's just,
you better have that move in place then.
Well, yeah, but that move's never there for Sacramento. That's right. Trading Jason Thompson, Nick Stauskas, and Carl Landry, and a first round pick for cap space, and then turning around and signing Kosta Koufis, Rajon Rondo, and Marco Bellinelli. That is not going to cut it. So if that's what his plan is, to cut bait on one of your best players, and also throw this out. This is something Sean and I talked about on the podcast the other day. People are forgetting that youth sports have completely been put on hold. Like, there aren't these AAU tournaments. And if there are, they're few and far between, where hundreds of teams from all over the country are coming in and being scouted. We're going to get to a point here where this 2-year gap impacts the quality of players that are coming through, their development, how much they've been scouted, how many games they've played. Like, I can tell you that my son playing competitive soccer, he was at like 500 caps by the time he graduated high school. That's how many games he played. So if you have some rec kid who wants to come out and play on your comp team, and he's 15 or 16 and he's been playing rec forever, and his parents think he's amazing, and then he gets out onto a comp team and he's playing with kids that have played 300 games already, or played more games in 2 weekends at playing in a tournament than your kid has played in his entire soccer career. There's like a level of issue here. So again, I think if I'm like OKC and I'm looking at this treasure trove, all of these picks that I have, well, there's going to come a point where we don't know the quality of. We're going to know the top 3 or 4 or 5. We're going to see players that stay in college longer because of this, and those players we'll get to see more of. But we're also going to miss on a bunch of like young superstar talent that just did not get scouted and grew 6 inches during the pandemic, and all of a sudden is a ball player. And then we're going to see other players that you thought were going to be good, but really never developed. Like, there's like cause and effect to the pandemic that we aren't even seeing yet, and in the NBA level, and it's coming in a couple of years. So for me, like, I wouldn't value my like the 2023, 2024, 25 picks nearly as high as I would value them like a year ago, 2 years ago, just because we don't know what we're going to get. We're not going to get this type of talent coming in that is ready-made and ready to step on the court.
Yeah, that's a hell of a point there, James. Because I mean, another consequence of that is, you don't know how the kids have reacted to, these last couple of years. There's certain kids where it's sucked the life out of them.
Yeah.
They were supposed to be like really good ball players and really had aspirations, and they got into the routine of school, practice, training, all this other stuff, and that got completely destroyed, and they tapped out. They're like,
look at a guy like Brandon Boston. Like, he
Mhm.
got to college and was just a mess. It was like, again, like he hadn't played, like he wasn't part of anything, like he wasn't able to succeed. And then he gets to the pros and they're like, oh man, the talent that's here, the talent that if you're that talented, he was a top 5 pick that fell to the second round, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you're that good, you might have a chance to figure it out, and the team might give you a long enough leash to develop you. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. That's like the first group of players that have had any kind of, upset in their stuff. I mean, again, my son got an abbreviated junior season, and they played 4 games his senior season, and it was against 2 teams. They played 2 teams twice. It was just trash, So all of those kids that like literally played hundreds and hundreds of games, they're not even playing in college. Like, their soccer careers ended. And I think a lot of players coming through are going to be in that same situation where they didn't get the exposure. They didn't get the offers to go to college because they didn't get the exposure, and we're going to miss out on a bunch. And even the kids that do, we're still going to miss out on a bunch of like their development. So
yeah. Real quick,
I haven't thought about that stuff. Go ahead.
But before we leave this, temperature check, in your opinion, how realistic is it that they are looking to move Fox?
I mean, look, I don't think anything is off the table at this point. I'll say, I've said this a couple of times. I think Halliburton is off the table. Like, I don't think that there is a trade in which the Kings involve Halliburton, and that's because, like, maybe I phrased this funny in it, but he's Monte McNair's firstborn. That's the first guy that he drafted, and it's a success. And you don't look at you look at those players differently. That is your success story. He's part of your NBA success story. So I don't think he gets moved. Outside of that, I think the business is open. I think Fox,
the business of basketball.
Yeah, the business of basketball. It's
No,
not that that Fox should be shopped heavily, and it's not that his play in the first 35 games has been so bad that you have to move him. I think it's the combination of everything. It's what you see from him behind the scenes. What like is he motivated to be the guy who takes his team and takes it to the next level? And if he's not, and if they know that behind the scenes, then they're going to have a better feel for whether they should trade him or not because they see what we don't, which again is kind of the sneaky thing about COVID is that we're not there behind the scenes to see the temperature in the room. We see them one by one come into a room. We've seen dysfunctional De'Aaron. We've seen angry, bitter, happy, next time I'll dribble the effing ball and then ask for the timeout. Like we've seen all of that guy, but when you're in a locker room, you can feel it. It's different, and we don't have that access at this point, and that's a big problem.
Have
So,
you ever been told on the record that his work ethic is off, or there are issues back there?
no, I haven't heard that his work ethic is off, but again, like there comes a point where a guy is either the guy or he's not. And I don't even mean that as a leadership thing. I do think that there is some aloofness with him right now, and I do think that there isn't like this guy who's taking control of that situation and becoming and basically backpacking the team and taking them through and bringing them to the promised land. They've been waiting for that player to happen, and it hasn't happened yet. But again, he's 24, and let's not forget that he's at 22 and 23, and even at like part of his 21. He too is going through a pandemic, and he too is an introvert who's going through a pandemic, and it's weighing on him. These things, life is weighing on him. So I just think that like we're in such a strange time, and some people just have no problems dealing with it. They just bust right through it. They're the Kool-Aid man, right? Just breaking through the wall and yelling and they're good to go. And others just aren't. It's a hard time, and I think we have to be somewhat compassionate to the struggle of others and the expectations. Like your expectations should change with certain people, and the Kings see more than we do. So if he's traded, I'll just tell you that means that they knew something that we didn't, or they knew more than what we know.
It's that's such a fascinating conversation, like the impact of the pandemic on people, like mentally. Even like I was having a conversation with Danny in San Francisco a couple of weeks ago about they're building this great new ESPN 1320 studio in Roseville, and what do you think about it? And I was like, honestly, I got a ton of anxiety about it. I've been me and KC, everything Kenny and I have done, we've done from home. Like we've launched this entire show from home. We've grown this entire show from home. Now I got my dog that's ill. Like I've got all of these, like I already get anxiety when I leave. I got all of these things going on. And now it's like, okay, you guys did good. You did amazing. Come check out this beautiful new studio. You're going to have to learn to do all of that stuff over again. And it's like, we've got, the pressures of that. And then I'm an introvert. I've always been a homebody. Now my ass is really a homebody. Like I don't go nowhere anymore. And it's like I don't want to say I've thought about that as it pertains to De'Aaron Fox, but I do wonder what it's like for some of these guys who are experiencing, Tyrese Halliburton. We talked about this last year. He experienced the NBA in a very non-NBA way his rookie year. And even now, it's still kind of like, you can go out in New York if you want to, but there could be some ramifications if you do.
And I think it's even more complex than that. Like we're on a non-basketball discussion, but it's even more complex than that, right? So you have introverts and you have extroverts. Extroverts feed off of introverts. Like that's, and introverts need their time away from extroverts to recharge their battery. Well, if you strip it down and you take away all of these other avenues, like when I'm an extrovert and I go out and it's not the same.
Right.
None of it's the same. You don't see half the people that you used to see. and you start wondering, well, are they still around or what happened? You know, and should I reach out? Like, but it's just so complex, the nature of what we're in, that I think that we all have to step back and say, like, look, we are over analyzing a basketball team. So, I mean, it's our job to overanalyze a basketball team, to have the Tuesday overreactions that we have. That's what our job is. But are we really thinking about it in the real world of how we deal with our lives? And I don't think that most fans think of it that way. And just during this time, like, social media has become such a powerful outlet for people who are struggling or who can't get that feel, that touch outside. And so they're turning to these things, and social media has become so much more lively. And then we get fans in the stands, and almost every game, a fight breaks out and something stupid happens. People aren't socialized anymore. They're not, like, there's so many layers to this thing.
We're like
Yeah.
cavemen again or something. Like we're
Yeah, we're like the teleprompter went down, like on the SNL skit, where all of a sudden, like, the teleprompter went down on a 30-minute TV show, and they already, like, behead somebody and have their head on a spike, and they're building a fire in the middle of the stage. Yeah, I think that this is going to take a while for us to really, like, come through. And in the meantime, we're going to keep talking basketball because this is the best that we can do. It's escapism at its best, and the Kings don't let you escape it. But I'm not sure that people want to escape it at this point. I think they want to overreact. They want to underreact, and they want to scream and yell on Twitter because they aren't being able to scream and yell at a bar with a bunch of people like they used to, or at their friend's house like they used to. And so it's tough. We're trying to balance all this stuff.
Well, let me overreact again.
Yeah, go for it.
To your not even knowledge, just you doing this for, a bunch of years. I'm not even gonna put a number on there for you.
12.
You comfortable saying 12? Let's 12 then. Anything to read into the combination of Monte McNair being in LA, Buddy Hield having pleasantries with Jeannie Buss, and all the rumors that are swirling around? Obviously, it doesn't mean a Lakers deal is inevitable, but I mean, is there anything there?
No, because the Lakers don't have anything to give up. Like, the Kings aren't taking. They're not taking your Russ West.
Yeah, that's a 3-team situation, though. Maybe they're talking like, "Hey, well, we've talked to OKC and they're willing."
No, I think it's very possible. Like that Buddy. I mean, I think, like, between now and February 10th, like, I'm not going to put a number on it. Like, we talked about this before. Is Buddy Hield going to be here? Or is he not? Like, that is always going to be your chip that you're trying to play. Yeah. Like, that is the guy that the Kings just keep sliding out and saying, this is my guy on the trade block. Will you take him? And to date, the offers haven't been good enough. There comes a point, though, where you almost have to do it, right? You just have to take whatever it is. And if you can get better value, if he starts having a streak here where he's putting up 20 plus a game and he's shooting the lights out, and he hit he's had seven threes made in the last 2 consecutive games. He's like the only team to ever do that. Frankie Carcelli put out a stat about that. And, it's a good stat. Like, the guy is rolling right now. That's good. Live by the Buddy while you have him. But it also creates an atmosphere of success for him. And will that help you move him? Will that let him find his next destination? And
it also means death is imminent.
Yeah.
If you live by the Buddy, death is imminent.
One of those games is coming. Yeah, but I mean, like, look, show who you are, buddy. That's fine. Go ahead and show who you are, and let's see if we can help you get out of here. That's it.
Even more to that, very common. Monte McNair being at the game and all that other stuff. Nothing doesn't mean anything, right?
He's traveling. He travels with the team quite a bit. And it's the only time that you get out of Sacramento for a long time. The Kings have a couple of games here coming up on the road, but then they're right back for another 5-game homestand. So, you know what I mean? This is a lot of games at home, and I think he has 3 little kids at home. Every once in a while, you got to, like, hey, hon, I'm gonna fly to LA and hang out with Jeannie Buss. Is that okay? I think we're in that situation, but these guys are working the phones nonstop. They're trying to find a better deal. They're trying to find a deal that makes sense to make this team better. And I think they're in a situation where you're clinging to the 10th seed, and that's at least something. Like, go get me something that can push me to the 6th seed.
You don't have to apologize for taking advantage of a crappy Western Conference. Like, it's
this
bad.
is it.
Take advantage of it.
Take advantage of it. That's going to keep me here at least.
Like we talked about it on the pod, me and Sean. Like, the Kings aren't the team that need like a number one starter, or they're not the team that's looking at it and like, okay, if I just had a 4-hole or a 5-hole hitter, I can be better. The Kings are the team that like, okay, I need a number 2 or 3 starter. I need a really good setup man, and I need one more bat. It doesn't have to be a star bat, but I need one. Like the Kings, that's who they are. They're not a team like Denver, who's just waiting for their guys to come back. They're waiting for Murray and for Porter to get healthy and come back if that happens. And they're not like, again, like Memphis. Memphis needs another piece to go from, okay, we're a good team, but can we be great in this season? And it's possible. Could we do something crazy if we made the big move and it didn't hurt our core too bad? So, and they could do like a short-term deal. They're looking for a short-term answer to get them over the top. That's not who the Kings are. The Kings are looking for something that would help them be sustainable for the next 4 or 5 years, or at least that's what they should be looking for. They should not be looking to take, if they're going to take 1 step back, take 5 steps back. If you're going to take 1 step forward, make it a big bounce, make it something that matters. That's someone who's, 24 to 27 and is under contract for 3 years, and you're doing something that's going to make you substantially better this season, next season, the season after, and maybe the season after that. That's what you should be doing right here.
But James, I'm also fine with taking a step that's going to get you better this year and next year. Like, that's okay. That's not just because you don't project 4 years out doesn't mean, well, we can't do it because this one ain't going to set us up for 4 years down the road. Get better this year. If it's a 2-year deal that this guy is on and you may lose him after 2 years, fine. Get better this year, next year. And if we're good, we'll worry about what we need to do for the next 3 years at that point.
That's a Christian Wood trade. Like, go get Christian Wood. If he's available, like, go get Christian Wood, figure it out what it takes and go make the move. Like, clearly they're having trouble there. But that's a guy that
I can't figure out. Like, how did they blow that? Like, he's really like, what is Houston doing?
Yeah, but I'm going to say this too. That guy bounced around on 10-day contracts and like he got caught a bunch. Like, Christian Wood, like there's some other reason why. It's not just that, oh, you're not good enough, because every time he steps on the court, he sure as heck is good enough. But when you're, but it didn't work out. Like, he left. So there's something that we don't see that they see on the backside. Clearly he got into it, John Lucas, but again, like the Kings
refusing to go into a game. Like, no person that's not a problem in my opinion, does that.
Yeah. But I would counter with, hey, look, if you could dump one of your $10 million contracts right now and get Christian Wood and give up a couple of seconds or give up some lottery protected first, that's step one. You put him in right now. You don't wait until February 10th. You put him in now, and then you start to see where you are between now and then. Is it a positive reaction? Is it a negative reaction? Now we know more about what we have, but we're also more talented right now. And if that deal doesn't work out, it's almost a little bit like the Terrence Davis deal. If it doesn't work out, we gave up 2 second-round picks, we'll just cut the guy, that type of situation. Or we'll just play it out next season. And if he's not on his best behavior, we'll move on. So that's where I'm like, hey, look, you could start with a move now and then give yourself some time. We're still a month away from the trade deadline. So, but like, this team it's not one piece. It's more like the 3 pieces that they need to get them into where we would feel comfortable saying, okay, this is really like a 6 seed. And we might not even get that with a deal where multiple deals have brought in extra pieces.
Yeah. Shout out to everybody in the chat. who, when I say you don't refuse to go into a game without having some kind of issues, and they're like, well, Scottie Pippen did it. Yeah, have you heard Scottie Pippen lately? that's not the best example.
No.
Yeah, Scotty's not well. I don't see Marvin on the injury report. He's good to go after leaving the game last night.
Yeah, I heard that he was very frustrated. That's all that was. It was.
I thought he was holding it. I thought he was grabbing his thumb. Oh, that was a good. He sold it well then on his way to the.
Yeah, I think he might be frustrated with his hand a little bit. But also I think he was frustrated with his play. I think he was frustrated with what was happening.
It's understandable.
He was frustrating that he wasn't having a better game. And so like I would.
He was a Kings fan basically.
Yeah, he did not go to the restroom like a lot of people like speculated. That's not what he was doing. I heard he was frustrated and for whatever reason he needed a mini timeout for himself.
And he came back, right? I didn't even look. He came back.
Oh, he did. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he came back.
I think James. Yeah, James tweeted he came back. He just walked to the back. The one time the camera caught him. What's that?
He did a Kyle Lowry. Remember when he did that?
I guess that's all he did. It's just the one time the camera caught him, you could see like his hand in his other hand. I was like, oh, he might be a little.
Yes, someone said he's visibly upset when he got subbed. I don't know if it's that he got subbed or that he was disappointed with what was happening.
Well,
that's what you never know.
Yeah.
Like again, there's a lot of reasons why you come off the court and you're angry. Sometimes you got a bad foul call, or sometimes you turn the ball over and you're frustrated with yourself. I think he was definitely having trouble grasping the ball with both hands. Like his it's his right hand, right, his right thumb. It's bugging him, and I think the tape bugs him, and like it's not comfortable. I just think there's some frustration there. He should be all right.
Okay. Well,
glad he's not hurt.
Yeah, I mean, like we said, he's not on the injury report.
Nope.
Only ones we won't see tonight is Chimezie Metu. Terrence Davis is listed as questionable. Don't expect to see him.
Yeah, I thought it was strange. I mean, he just has some little ankle issue. I think a bigger thing with Terrence at this point is that he's not in the rotation, and so like if he doesn't feel 100%, like why be active? If I'm not playing anyways, like I might as well keep getting treatment and wait until I'm 100%, and then when I'm 100%, I'll look better when I do get to play.
Why is he out of the rotation?
Because they're not doing 3-guard sets anymore. That's just what it is. What like even last night's game, I thought at one point, man, they got to get Halliburton back in the game, and it's like, but Buddy Hield's having a good game, and De'Aaron Fox is having a good game, and hey, Davion is doing some good stuff defensively, and it's like you can't run 4 guards out there. Like you could try it, but like Dwight Howard just gonna like go Hulk mode on you and start smashing, which he did either way. But yeah, I think that there's like you do need to clear up some of this logjam that this team has, and like clear it out so you can use lesser players, fewer players at the position, and then if you do need to steal some minutes from a guy like Robert Woodard, or if Terrence Davis can rejoin the rotation. Again, we talked about it in the beginning of the season. This team has always been set up to me with like 9 standard players and 2 guys that are ready to be traded at any moment for your 10th player, your 10th rotational player. And then, now Damian Jones and Chimezie Metu are part of that rotation, and that, that changes the dynamic as well. I think this team it's deeper. It's 12 deep, 13 deep. So it's not a bad thing.
Just can't functionally all play together, though.
Nope, can't do it.
Okay.
Need to be done.
Oh, there's that. James, you got to get on the road. Thanks as always, man. Go subscribe to the Kings Beat. Become a premium subscriber. Be a part of Off the Record tomorrow with James Ham. He'll be joined by Sam Amick. It's an awesome time. Again, you could become a subscriber over at the kingsbeat.com. James, we'll see you on Friday.